is that it's a human story.
It's highly emotional, very powerful. It's a massive payoff. It's these characters that you've watched over the course of 2 films on their journey have to go to the ends of their abilities.
Faramir is attempting to lead forces against the forces of Sauron, but not doing terribly well.
If they don't succeed in this world that you've got to know, all of that will be destroyed.
So much is invested in these characters at this point that it's going to be pretty extraordinary to watch what happens to these characters and to see some resolution.
It's made up of all the same elements that are important in life. So friendship, loyalty, compassion, love, the fear and anger. It has an element of all of those qualities.
The computer technology we have now enables us to do it live action and do it very realistically. And that's, I think, one of the really exciting things about the project is that I've really tried to push the envelope to show audiences things that they've never seen before.
This is the only time in the entire trilogy that you see a hobbit in battle.
A true esquire of war.
So to see war from a hobbit's eyes is just horrific.
So quiet.
It's the deep breath before the plunge.
I don't want to be in a battle. But waiting on the edge of one I can't escape is even worse. Is there any hope, Gandalf, for Frodo and Sam?
There never was much hope. Just a fool's hope.
The Return of the King is the climax of the story, and in a sense, because it's the climax, it is the reason why you make the first 2 films. It is the culmination of everything that we've set up. All the different storylines lead to this film. The journeys that the characters are taking leads to this film.
Even back when we were doing principal photography, there was this aura about Return of the King that was quite special. I mean, obviously we were skipping around quite a lot, but whenever it came to doing something from film 3, there was this kind of excitement and there was something special about it.
I think The Return of the King is the most emotional of the 3, and that's important. You know, it's always been important with these films that we've been making, because no matter how much spectacle you put on the screen, no matter what the battles are and the visual effects are doing, you know, there's a point where people just don't care about that anymore, and what they want is the human story, you know, the story that we can relate to.
Every path you have trod, through wilderness, through war, has led to this moment.
The title, The Return of the King, refers to Aragorn, who has been on a journey through the first 2 movies towards his taking of the throne of Gondor.
The enemy will never let Aragorn come to the throne of Gondor.
It is time. Give him the sword of the king.
Become who you were born to be.
It's not an easy journey for Aragorn, because he essentially doesn't have faith that he is doing the right thing by becoming the rightful king.
Gandalf has an overview of the situation. That Aragorn should come back from his time away from the duties of responsibility and kingship by becoming a king, which is his heritage, and Gandalf would say his destiny.
A man who can wield the power of this sword can summon to him an army more deadly than any that walks this earth.
Elrond's actually half elf, half human, and this seems to be the battle in him between, he doesn't quite trust humans to have the ability to take over and to fight the forces of darkness, and yet he knows that he has to lead. So in a way it's like a lose-lose situation for him.
Tell me what you have seen.
Arwen.
You have the gift of foresight. What did you see?
I looked into your future and I saw death.
There is also life. You saw there was a child. You saw my son.
That future is almost gone.
But it is not lost.
In The Return of the King, you see her, deeply suffering because she realizes finally what everybody's been trying to tell her, what her father's been trying to tell her, what Galadriel's been trying to tell her, that these consequences are enormous and that I could die and he could die and we may not ever be together and it's pain and suffering and it's like this whole other universe.
Nothing is certain.
Some things are certain. If I leave him now, I will regret it forever. It is time.
The thing that stands out the most for me about the relationship between Arwen and Aragorn is the fact that I believe they both feel that their union is more profound and long-lasting than their individual existences could ever be. They have each other in mind.
How far is Minas Tirith?
3 days' ride, as the Nazgul flies. And you better hope we don't have one of those on our tail.
If as an audience you invest in trying to understand the story through a Hobbit's eyes, I think you just feel it more, you know, in your heart. You feel the innocence, you feel what they are having to go through to try and complete this task. Here, something for the road.
Last of the Longbottom leaf.
I know you've run out. You smoke too much, Pip.
We did that scene twice.
Correct.
Because we did it once, where we were very emotional and splitting up, but we felt, or Pete felt, that it had a kind of full stop, and he wanted it to be more like it happened so fast that they don't have time to kind of really say, well, I'll see you later, you know, or when will we see each other again?
But we'll see each other soon. Won't we?
I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen.
Harry.
Run, Shadowfax. Show us the meaning of haste.
The way that it is now, I think, is better.
Why are you looking at me?
Because you were in the scene, remember?
Oh, right, you want me to give you an opinion?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is better.
Coming up.
I really do think, though, that no director has ever done what Pete's done.
The more will come should sound like, you know, you're prepared to wait another 2 or 3 days. You know, I mean, really, when you say more will come, it's like saying, well, the longer we wait, the more that we're going to get.
More will come.
This is the only time in the entire trilogy that you see a Hobbit in battle.
A true Squire of Rohan.
So to see war from a Hobbit's eyes is just horrific.
The very warmth of my blood seems stolen away.
The way is shut. It was made by those who are dead, and the dead keep it. The way is shut.
The relationship between Legolas and Gimli becomes more of a kind of, the way that they interact. It's just funny to see two completely opposite people. They couldn't be more at different ends of the scale, you know what I mean?
And action there.
And it's kind of sweet to see them befriend each other and try and find common ground in which to kind of have a friendship, you know?
In some way, the great humor that derives from the character is basically because he starts off not realizing that he's small. Unfortunately, when he's running cross-country with an elf and an endlessly long-legged man, his limitations become apparent even to him.
Well, this is a thing unheard of. An elf will go underground, when a dwarf dare not. Oh, I'd never hear the end of it.
You know, Lord of the Rings put me in this other category as a young actor. As it being my first sort of experience, it put me in this other category, this sort of really serious heavyweight category, because it was critically and box office, it was a success. So, you know, I'm so lucky that, you know, I had that. And now it raised the bar, and I wanted everything else that I did to live up to that.
Well, Orlando was just fantastic. He's an actor who is a great spirit on set. He's always bubbly, he's always optimistic, he's very focused and professional.
We're proud of Orlando. We're really proud of the elf. The elf has done us proud.
Grimbo, how many? I bring 500 men from the West Fold, my lord. We have 300 more from Penmark, Benedict King. Where are the riders from Snowball? None have come, my lord.
Good. Was it goodie?
I really do think, though, that no director has ever done what Pete's done.
Yeah.
You know, no one's worked that hard or, you know, made 3 movies at one time and this scale.
The more will come should sound like, you know, you're prepared to wait another 2 or 3 days. You know, I mean, really, when you say more will come, it's like saying, well, the longer we wait, the more that we're going to get.
6,000 spears. Less than half of what I'd hoped for.
6,000 will not be enough to break the lines of Mordor.
More will come.
Every hour lost hastens Gondor's defeat. We have till dawn, then we must ride.
The thing that struck me most about Peter was his ability to maintain first his energy and his enthusiasm, as well as his ability to never lose sight of where these films were going, and he always had everything very straight in his head.
Sort of, it's not an excitement about war, but it's a sense that, okay, we now comes the big final battle.
Peter Jackson has amazing energy and determination and willpower and self-confidence and charm and ability to talk you into doing anything.
Just pick up the pace, it will come with it. More fun, more excitement, you know, more of it's excitement.
He'd be a great guy to go into battle with. I don't think much would go wrong if Peter was in charge.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, it was great, it was good. Good stuff.
He's not scared about looking foolish, you know, if it means that what he's doing will be better. If he thinks of something, he'll get up and walk over it.
And then you're on your way.
You know, sometimes it's pretty funny, you know, because he's so into it, but yet it's still Pete with his big glasses and his beard.
Yeah, that's great. All right, that's excellent, this chick then.
We never leave the scene until it hit Peter just right. And not just right in his gut. He'd have to hit him right in his gut. He'd have to feel something when he was watching it. He'd have to believe it. And it would have to work for him aesthetically in terms of the camera moves that he was putting together.
That was nice. That was nice. We'll just rattle through a couple more because it's all feeling good.
Well, Peter's a wonderfully intelligent man. I can't believe where he gets his energy from. He's totally idiosyncratic.
Yeah, I think that's a stronger way.
He's a shuffling, hobbity character who it's impossible not to love.
Well, he's a very sexy man.
Yeah.
Beautiful big hair.
Big glasses with, you know,
Crazy beard.
raindrops and grease.
Crazy beard with egg in it.
Some of his dinner here sometimes. It's great. He just likes to save it for later on because he moves about so much, you know.
Yeah,
you never know when he's going to get his next meal, so he can look down and go, oh, tuna fish.
Well, that was nice. That was basically working quite well.
Up next.
The computer technology we have now enables us to do it live action and do it very realistically. And that's, I think, one of the really exciting things about the project is that I've really tried to push the envelope to show audiences things that they've never seen before.
Eon Live.
I mean, you don't actually expect me to do any fighting, does he?
You're in the service of the steward now. You're going to have to do as you're told.
This is the only time in the entire trilogy that you see a hobbit in battle.
There, a true esquire of Rohan.
I'm ready. Oh, sorry. It's not all that dangerous. It isn't even sharp. You see, you know, a few small kind of frays take place in Moria, but this is, you know, in the middle of a war.
To the smithy, go!
So to see war from a hobbit's eyes, it's just horrific because you know, you're 3'6", you're looking up at everything. Everything's huge, everything's, you know, ultimately a lot more powerful.
The computer technology we have now enables us to do it live action and do it very realistically. And that's, I think, one of the really exciting things about
about the project is that I've really tried to push the envelope to show audiences things that they've never seen before.
A lot of the time, we were places for real. So when we were on top of a mountain, we were helicoptered to the top of a mountain.
Okay.
It wasn't in front of a green screen, you know. But when there was something like a cave troll or an olifant, as you say, he would always bring drawings or however far it had gone with special effects, if there was some tape of it.
Yeah.
It helped as much as it could, you know.
Shelob the spider. We were kind of used to working with CG elements, you know, characters and creatures that sort of didn't exist, that would later kind of be put into the film or into the scenes that we were working in. And with Shelob, it was very much the same process. It was basically me running around looking at a mark on the matte box of the camera or thin air and just imagining a giant spider. The great thing about those kind of things for this trilogy is we always had reference. With Shelob, you know, it's not difficult to imagine a giant spider.
Before doing Lord of the Rings, you know, I hardly even knew what a blue screen, green screen was. You know, I was very, I wasn't a fave with the special effects at all, you know. So it was a big learning curve for me. But I loved it. I really loved it. I loved working with the animators and I loved working with motion capture. I just found it very liberating. I really got off on it.
The precious is mine!
Although we shot everything on set, Elijah, Sean and I, every single scene that you see in the movie was shot for real on set. I would then have to go back and repeat it again in a motion capture studio. Every single scene again, we're in a suit with dots all over it, and that was controlling this computer-generated image of Gollum. So on screen I could see Gollum move in real time to my movements. I didn't like wearing Lycra. That suit, I had to get used to wearing this suit, and you know, people used to rip me mercilessly, and they didn't stop doing it for like 4 years. It just never ever got any easier wearing that suit.
Come, Master! Come to Smeagol!
Sean and I, literally, for weeks, would seem like months on end, we would arrive on set to some new formation of rocks. That would be, you know, probably the same rocks that had been slightly rearranged to look slightly different. And we kind of would walk on the set and sort of hang our heads and be like, here we are again in another rock. And climbing another set of stairs. Which probably, you know, is somewhat how Frodo and Sam felt, you know, the sort of monotony of their journey.
Scarecrow, we're lost! I don't care! I can't do it, Mr. Frodo. I won't wait around for him to kill us.
I'm not sending him away.
You don't see it, do you?
He's a villain. We can't do this by ourselves, Sam. Not without a guide. I think our own fatigue in the process of making these movies became part of the performance, you know, which makes a lot of sense because the characters do go through a lot of physical strife. So it's nice that we had something to draw upon. I need you on my side.
I'm on your side, Mr. Frodo.
I know, Sam. I know. Trust me. Come, Smeagol.
After the break,
Faramir is attempting to lead forces against the forces of Sauron, but not doing terribly well.
If they don't succeed, then this world that you've got to know, all of that will be destroyed.
Richard Gere.
We can't hold them. The city is lost. Tell them to break up. We ride for Minister.
In Return of the King, everything escalates. The tension in all storylines is at its absolute peak in the third film.
You've got to know these characters kind of subconsciously through this, 2 years or 3 years that we've been putting these movies onto the screen. And that becomes very, very emotional. If they don't succeed, then this world that you've got to know, all of that will be destroyed if these 9 travellers kind of manage to do what they set out to do from Rivendell.
Faramir is attempting to lead forces against the forces of Sauron, but not doing terribly well. But Eddie's father sends him back out again.
It's been an incredible 4 years where we've established a family, and we've so enjoyed the process of making these movies, and the idea of not being able to go back to New Zealand to continue working is a shame.
The film has this incredible sense of closure about it. It has this sadness and this feeling of finality to it, and I think we're all feeling like we're part of the movie at the moment. You know, it is coming to an end. There's tears, there's sadness. Yep.
Thanks for watching our behind-the-scenes look at The Lord of the Rings: The Return of the King. Join us next week as Steve Martin steps up to the plate as a father of 12 in Cheaper by the Dozen.
And meanwhile, in by 10 on school nights. Clear?
Got it.
Anything else you want to talk about?
Did I mention I don't like you very much?
Yeah, you mentioned that, yeah.
Then I'm good.
Okay, me too.